So the kind of agenda of the meeting today is basically doing introductions with everyone, then a basic view of or like an overview of what Ohio Venture Pipeline does, talking about the June 25th is the Collegiate Edition event that I talked to you guys about. And then just kind of brainstorming. This is going to be the part where we're kind of brainstorming and figuring out, okay, what all stuff do we need to put in the program. Then I'm going to talk about the student interest survey and just short-term and long-term plans with OVP and the collegiate edition. And then we're just going to move on with the next steps and everything else. I kind of want to talk about the event at the State House. On April 9th, we all went to the State House with all of these students on the right side, where we saw the presentation and about the 229 deals that kind of happened in Ohio, where collectively companies raised 1.78 billion last year. It included a panel of startup CEOs that have raised venture capital in Ohio. We saw them getting awarded for 24 amazing. There were 24 companies that got awarded All-Star pa their All-Star awards. And then there was we kind of looked at the deep analytical review of the companies that raised money. And those 229 companies now already employ over 6,000 people in Ohio, and most of them are hiring right now. Ohio Venture Pipeline kind of tracks every deal, venture capital deal across the Midwest. So that's including every stage, every industry, and every region. The reason why we wanted to do this is because most people don't have any idea about the number of great deals and investors that are really active within the venture capital community, and OVP kind of exists to change that. The collegiate edition is we how we kind of bring that story to students themselves, and you guys are going to be the people that are going to make this happen at your campuses, which is why you're here. Before I kind of talk to JD, I want everyone to quickly introduce, if they can introduce themselves, and then we can go around. If you can share your name, your university, and your club, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can start us off here. Name's Wyatt Borby. I attend Miami University. I study finance and neuroscience. Currently the president of Side Hustle Club, so a bunch of student entrepreneurs just building businesses and getting together to spread ideas, and also the president of an entrepreneurship business fraternity called Sigma Eta Pi.
I can go next. My name's Alexander Dilger. I'm at the University of Kentucky studying aerospace engineering, and I'm with the Entrepreneurship Club, and I'm the vice president.
I
Awesome.
can jump in next. My name's Olivia. I study industrial engineering and business, and I lead Builders and Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital Group at Ohio State University.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashani. I'm from Wright State University. I'm the president of Entrepreneurship Club. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Welcome.
Now, I want to kind of introduce JD, who's the man behind all of this. He is an Ohio native who's spent kind of a bulk of his career in California building venture capital-backed startups. He's he's founded one software company and was on the management team of seven others. So he served as the CFO and COO at kind of each of them. Collectively, those eight startups have raised over 100 million and has been part of over 1.3 billion in exit deals. He's a graduate of Ohio State's honors accounting program. He started his career as a CPA at KPMG, and then he is also the founder of Dealmaker Academy. Dealmaker Academy is basically teaches people how to fundraise for money and has had over 3,500 participants, graduated eight cohorts of the fundraising sprint program, which is basically the key aspect that they have, which where they teach people how to raise money. And then JD has also taught his programs at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurship Center in San Francisco, Mass Challenge in Boston, and in Los Angeles at the Kiretsu Forum and many other places. he came back to Ohio and built OVP because he believes the next generation of the Midwest founders and investors really deserve that same access to the information that people who've already been within the ecosystem have. And so I think we can learn a lot from his experience. So, JD, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Trey. I really appreciate that. And so, to explain what the Ohio Venture Pipeline is, we essentially call it deal flow as a public service. And it's truly a grassroots collaborative effort where every year we put together and compile and scrub and tag a list of all of the deals that raise money in the state of Ohio. And we're expanding that across a 15 state region. We've been tracking every deal in Ohio since January 1 of 2022. And we've created a data lake that already contains over 1,000 deals of startups headquartered in Ohio that raised collectively over $6.3 billion. Those companies all employ a lot. So when I started interviewing interns this summer, and I noticed one thing particularly in the business students, it's like you have to pick either the investment banking track or the consulting track, but there didn't seem to be much experiential learning when it came to an entrepreneur track. And so our goal is to try to create that. We're going to start out by sharing the information that we already have with you and also helping identify ways that you can engage with these startups, as well as get more information about how you can become some of these startups that have already raised money in Ohio and put you on a path to be successful. And a lot of it, quite honestly, at this stage of my career, the most rewarding thing I can do is to try to help the next generation of entrepreneurs and hopefully help you guys avoid some of the mistakes that all of us have made in California and beyond. This is the State House. We had our sixth semi-annual event on April 9th of this year. We had a record turnout of 200 people. And out of those 229 companies that raised money in Ohio last year, we selected and gave awards to 24 outstanding all-stars. And it's primarily based on the quality of the investment syndicate that they brought together, because a lot of people don't realize that Goldman Sachs, Coastal Ventures, General Catalyst, Andreessen Horowitz, some of the largest VC firms in the country are placing money in companies in Ohio, and very few people know about it. And one of the things that I learned after being in California for almost 30 years is it's not necessarily true that the best deals get funded. What I found was the most connected deals get funded. So a big part of what we're trying to create here in Ohio and across an entire 15 state region is that connective tissue, because there's all of these entrepreneurs that are building great companies and they're attracting great investors and doing great things, but not enough people know these stories. And so we want to share those stories with you and bring you into the experience as part of a grassroots program. For example, this was one of the panelists that was joined me on stage at the State House. John Walsh raised $50 million in their latest venture round, and they brought in some pretty big venture capital. If you guys know Mark Kwame at the OHIO Fund, they invested in the most recent one, Pritchard Auto Group, Advantage Capital, and they're building EV fleets in Ottawa, Ohio, where they have reactivated what used to be a Philips electronics manufacturing plant, and they've already created a couple of hundred jobs. And so our mission is to elevate the founders who are building the future in the heartland economy. And it's across a 15 state region. Everything we're doing in Ohio that I'm going to show you today and over the next month is what we've proven out over the last 4 years in Ohio. And we've done all of that with an eye towards doing it across a 15 state region. Because in Ohio, there's only 200 or 300 venture capital style deals per year. But if you extend that net to a 15 state region, we get 3,000 deals. And that's worth building some great, robust ecosystem programs for. So, what we are now is Ohio's premier celebration and awards program at the State House. And we have those All Star Awards, and we provide more deal flow visibility and engagement to everyone. All of that information that we've collected, when we publish our list, we only put about 7 columns of information out. But when we do our data mining operation every quarter, we're collecting over 40 fields of information about every deal in the region. And so that gives us a real big advantage because we can run analytics on who the investors are, what graduation rates are by industry, by region, and all of that. And so The reason that we do this is because venture capital-backed companies create jobs 8 times faster than any other source of net new private sector jobs. So literally, the venture capital pipeline that we're reporting on every quarter is the future of jobs in Ohio in terms of rapid growth. And currently, we're punching below our weight. I think we can literally do 5 to 10 times the venture deal flow of what we're doing right now, because we're currently only at less than 2% of nationwide venture capital. And so the whole goal with this grassroots program is to engage you and other members of the community, as we have been for the last 4 years, to attract more capital. Because if people come to see the deals that are here and we can showcase those great deals and shine the flashlight on the successful entrepreneurs, then it's going to attract more investors and inspire more entrepreneurs like yourselves. So this is the class of 2025, 24 all-star companies. And you can see that we intentionally distribute them geographically across the state as balanced a way as possible. So we have 7 or 8 up in Cleveland, we've got Columbus, we've got Cincinnati, we've got Dayton West, and Indara is representing Northwest Ohio. By industry, we also do a real good job of balancing things out. We have 11 companies that are all-stars in technology and data. We've got 11 that are in life sciences and another 3 down in other industries. On April 9th, we had a record turnout of over 200 people, a real nice balance between entrepreneurs, investors, all-stars, our sponsors, students, bankers, lawyers, colleagues that have already had exits as well, and some of the economic development folks in the country, in the state. We had investors from all of these, what we got, 11 or 12 venture funds here, all had representatives register and attend. So it's definitely a good place that you want to get plugged into. We have a broad host committee of people that support our program, all the way from Jumpstart to Rev One, to the OHIO Fund, and North Coast Ventures. We've got economic development people. We've got Neil Collins from Innovate New Albany. So again, the whole purpose is grassroots, to get everyone involved. We don't get money from the state, and that means that we get to do it as a founder-led program that's really focused on helping you and all of the aspiring entrepreneurs in the state get the credibility and visibility that you deserve. And we can also provide a list that we have not published this yet, but this is a list of all of the investors who deployed capital into those 229 companies during calendar year 2025. But as students, this is the type of information that we can provide to you. And I'm going to pause there and see if we have any questions.
Can we get a copy of this slideshow after the meeting?
Absolutely, 100%.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then the other thing I want to show you as well is when we give the event at the State House, we send all of those slides out. But probably one of the most valuable pieces is that we publish this deal flow list. And you can see down at the bottom that there's multiple tabs down here, right? So on the Start Here tab, it explains what is in the report. And essentially, it's a deep dive on all those 229 deals during calendar year 2025. We have this all the way back to, so we have 2022, 23, 24, and 25. And so we got 4 years of data in the bag right now. And every year and every quarter, we break it down like this. So we have, there were 566 finance deals across the state of Ohio, and those companies raised a total of $37.8 billion. And the breakdown is right here. You can see public companies in Ohio raised most of that money with 19 billion, but it was only 30 deals. Then you had a whole bunch of debt. And then the part that I care the most about, because this is where I've lived all of my career, is in venture capital, angel, corporate, and private equity. 229 deals for 1.7 billion is where we take a deep dive on those. And then there was secondary market and private equity deals for another 7 billion. So then moving down, this is how we break down those 229 deals and the 1.7. We have broken down by which ones were accelerator deals, pre-seed, angel, and convertible notes, seed deals, early stage, Series A, all the way down the line. And then we also break it down by deal size. We had 2 deals that were over 100 million. We had 36 deals between 10 and 100 million. and all the way down. And there's a tab for each one of these. So you can see the breakout by industry here. Technology, software, data, and AI had 83 deals for 852 million. Life sciences had 68 with 452 million. Again, we have all of this for 1,000 deals dating back to January 1 of 22 for Ohio. And we've collected all of the data across a 15-state region for 2025. So down here at the bottom, you can see these are the charts from all 4 years. So you can do some really interesting comparisons of deal counts by size and who some of the largest deals were in each of those years, the breakdown by industry and by geography, by stage of development. It's a real deep data dive. Here's the All-Star Awards from this year. And I'll be done with this real quick. I won't go too much deeper on this, but here's an alphabetical list, sorted by alphabetical on the left-hand side. This one is sorted from the largest to the smallest deals, all 229 deals, largest to smallest. Stage of development, here you can see all of the accelerator deals in Ohio from rows 2 through 31. Here's all the pre-seed deals here. Here's all the seed rounds last year. Here's all your early stage, Series A, Series B, and beyond, private equity and equity crowdfunding. If you're interested in a particular industry, like Wyatt is at Medtronic, so if Wyatt wanted to work for a venture-backed company in life sciences, I would encourage him to scroll down here where you can see these are all the life science companies, and those are sorted from largest dollar amount to the smallest. And we have several all-stars that are in these deals. And then geographically, if you have a specific area that you want to live in, here's all the Northeast Ohio deals here from largest to smallest. Here's all the Central Ohio deals from largest to smallest. Here's all of the Cincinnati metro area deals, and we'll include Covington in there. So that's the type of deep data that's in our lake. Now, like I say, we're only publishing here 7 fields of data, but we've collected over 40 fields of data for all of those deals. So the data lake that we've built is really, really robust.
One more thing to kind of add is if you guys want the deals report that he showed for the previous years and this year too. It's all available on the website for free. You just gotta fill out a few questions or just responses, and then you can get this. You can download all of this on the High Venture Pipelines is from the website too under the report section. It's all available for free because at the end of the day, it's to get people aware of this fact that there's such a big venture capital landscape within Ohio and across the Midwest. And we want to keep that talent within Ohio and the Midwest so that we're helping the Midwest community become kind of like Silicon Valley and San Francisco. It's Ohio's a growing market, so we want to capture it at that like inflection point. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so what we were trying to do with the Collegiate Edition, this is the first time that we've launched the Collegiate Edition. And the whole idea is, we're doing this as a give back to the community, quite honestly. It takes a lot of work and time and effort to make this happen. But the whole idea is that if you want to go to work in venture capital or at a venture capital backed company, you don't necessarily have to leave Ohio to do that. And here's a list of the 229 companies, and I can tell you who the investors are, and I can tell you which one are the good investors. Additionally, if you want to raise money and have a company in Ohio, we can help out with that as well. But step one is to raise the awareness of the deals that are already happening, who the investors are that are writing the checks, and why they were successful. And for each of those 24 All-Stars, we're going to be doing a dedicated podcast episode this summer, so you can hear the stories directly from themselves on what was the difference between success and failure. So for today, the primary focus is to get you engaged as host committee members so that we can do this presentation on Zoom on June 25th. And so I'll pull that slide up. So the big ask today is to help us put together the first inaugural online Zoom. All college students in Ohio and the surrounding region are invited to participate because everything that we're doing in Ohio, we're going to expand to the 15-state region. And so the goal is to have a live Zoom session where there'll be a partial presentation of the deal flow, a partial presentation of what we did at the Ohio State House. We can probably also have a panel discussion from some of our all-stars subject to scheduling in the same way that we did at the Ohio State House. And then everybody that attends, we can hopefully we get 50, 100, 200 college students from the region to come online and participate in this session and engage with each other. Everybody will get, the full OVP pipeline catalog. You'll certainly be first in line to get the data for the region. I've already processed the data for Illinois and Wisconsin, and we're working on the other states. Additionally, everybody that attends on June 25th will get a raffle ticket with a chance to potentially attend the State House event next spring. And also, we have an investor readiness assessment. We're not going to go too deep on that today, but for those students who have a startup and are interested in talking with investors and learning how to get meetings with investors, and more importantly, how to build a target list of the best investors, we can help you with that as well, but we're not going to dig deep into that. Hopefully, this is a first in an ongoing series of live sessions where we can help college students across the region engage more with fundraising, mentorship, and more. And Shrey, you want to talk a little bit about the student interest survey?
Yeah, I can cover that. So the first task as the host committee is really to drive responses on the student interest survey. The student interest survey basically covers um ev- it covers and helps us kind of figure out what all should actually be covered in the June 25th webinar. So what industries students want to work in, what are they curious about in venture capital, and where they want to take their careers. The more responses we get, the better kind of JD and I can tailor the session to what the members and college students specifically care about. So the first task and your primary first job would be to between now and June 25th to get as many people as you can from your respective business schools to fill out the student interest survey. I'll share the student interest survey after this meeting. I'll send it out in an email so you can share it in your group chats, a club email list that you might have, class group meets, anywhere you want. And we're minimum at the least is we're trying to get 10 to 15 responses per school. So it's it gives us a good gauge of where we want to take this. And yeah, since we kind of want to brainstorm too about how we should structure it, open to any ideas you guys might have on what might be something that we're missing. Because when we were considering and talking about what to include in the program, we were considering two types of buckets of people, specific for college students. One are people who already have a business or want to go down the entrepreneurship track. So maybe they want to work at a specific startup, or no, not work actually. It's they already have a startup and they want to raise money, or they are planning to raise money through going to that venture capital down that line. And then you have the kids who are looking for internship opportunities, maybe working at a startup, maybe working at a seed company, or any throughout that process. Those who want to work at and get an internship or any opportunity are the second bucket of people we saw. That was the kind of the two prominent buckets that we were thinking about when we are kind of brainstorming. And so I'd appreciate if you guys can kind of give your input, because obviously the more people we have an idea from, the better it's going to be for us to tailor it more towards college students.
And Olivia, I don't know if you're at a place where you can talk, but you were there at the State House on the 9th. Can you maybe comment a little bit about the benefits to you and how you think would be good for students to engage?
Yeah, it was actually a great time. I know Shrey was there and a few other people from OSU were as well, but it was obviously a great networking event to meet a lot of people in the area. And then JD's presentation gave a lot of insight into the current state of what venture is in the region and where we should keep our eyes, even as students, for opportunities in the job market or other areas of just where deals are happening. So just again, we can go back to our clubs and be like, hey, this is what's going on. This is where some opportunities might be arising. But again, always just good to be in the room. And I was going to ask JD, is that list of deals that have happened in the area, people that you directly have contacts in that we could potentially connect our students with for internship opportunities, placement positions, or even just like shadowing in that area of startups?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll obviously have to create sort of a system and a pipeline to manage those. But if there are specific individual introductions that anybody wants, I can definitely do that. Secondly, we've got, at least one example where Isaac Bales got a internship this summer at Claramedics, which is one of the great life science companies here in Columbus that has already raised over $40 million. He was on a panel with us at the Healthcare Capital Markets and Innovation Summit downtown Columbus last week, and he's doing a finance internship at Claramedics. And so that was a connection that he made just by attending the State House event last year, and he met Dave Richards, the CEO of Claramedics. So our goal is to try to facilitate more of that. Obviously, in the short term, it'll be more ad hoc, but Shrey and I are already talking about creating an engine from the student interest survey where we can learn enough about what the students are interested in and what this audience is interested in, and create a matchmaking function on the back end, like a two-sided marketplace. For example, in the student interest survey questions, you'll see we ask questions about the industries that you're specifically interested in, the functional areas that you're interested in, and then the geographies that you're interested in as well. So if we have that mapped on the student body on this side, well, then we can do the same thing over here with all the list of the companies that we already have in our data lake. And so we're building that again, building more of that connective tissue over time.
Right, is there a link for registering for the webinar yet, or just a
Yes,
student survey?
I can share all of that after this meeting. I just made it and I can share that over with you guys so that you guys can kind of get people more or just get registered for it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Olivia. Ashani?
Hey, so I was a little bit more curious to understand the internship aspect. Is that something that you are securing for the students, or is it more that students come to these networking opportunities and they secure it for themselves through the initiatives they take in
The second
proactively?
one,
Or
we're not,
okay.
we don't have the infrastructure and the processes set up
Hmm.
to actually secure internships. But as I was mentioning, over time, I always like to look at things with a long-term plan. And then I always kind of break things into, three buckets: crawl, walk, run. While we're crawling right now, we're just getting started. The goal that I've given Shrey is between now and June 25th, how many universities can we get at least one, if not two students to join our host committee, so that you can begin to get the information. Then the next step would be as we collect those survey responses that I mentioned, and that will give us our first sort of audience survey information so that we can be more efficient in that matchmaking. But no, we're not yet structurally in a
Hmm.
place where we can make any commitments to actually secure the internships, but we can provide the very best opportunity to network your way in. And then incrementally over time, we can build more functionality onto the platform.
Okay, and do you have maybe like a prior track record of the kind of internship students have received through these events?
No, because the focus has not been on students until just now. This is the
Um,
first really
okay.
student initiative that we've had. And Shrey is basically chairing the host committee and pulling that all together. What we've done with the business community prior to students, like I showed you a picture of, we got some 35 members of the host committee. And that's where the real grassroots power of it is, because regardless of if the state writes a check and tries to, say they want to do it their way, if we do it in a grassroots method from the bottom up, which is one of the sort of the ecosystem building best practices that we learned in California, is that those programs that are grassroots bottom up and that the community really takes ownership of it are the ones that have the most staying power over the long term. And we're teaching people how to network efficiently as opposed to in an ad hoc way.
Okay, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to share a little bit about using myself as an example. So I just recently won a business pitch competition, and I'm gonna about to start my startup here in Ohio.
Mhm.
And I am an international student, so I'm just generally new to US environment, let alone Ohio. So would I have maybe the potential to get mentorship or support through your initiative to sort of figure out who I can get or secure as investors or how to go about my business and all of that stages. Is that something that you're covering as well?
We will very soon.
Mhm.
And Shrey, I think what we'll do in this case is to do that investor readiness assessment.
Hmm.
If you can send her a link I found the link and I sent that to you last night. Um,
Yeah.
so Ashani, what we have is it's a 5-minute survey that helps us understand
Mhm.
where you are in the process. It's just 16 questions, and that'll help us identify the appropriate next steps. We have programs, but they're currently dormant.
Mhm.
But as we learn more about the student population in this region, since I came from California, then we'll be able to custom fit the needs for for the audience of students that we have here. But we're just in the very early stages of it.
Mhm. Mhm. And if a student is not, let's say, investor ready based on your assessment, what would be like the next steps?
Oh, if you send the pitch deck and answer those questions, I'll be able to give you 20 minutes of feedback with the specific next steps on what to do.
Oh, okay, perfect. I think that's great. It would be definitely useful for students in our, university past winners. I think that's where most of us are stuck, just navigating what the next steps might be and whom to really reach out to.
It's
Sounds
all too
good.
common. So I'm really glad that we're going to be in a position where we can help a lot of people. I was telling Shrey the other day that, about 10 years ago when I started the Dealmaker Academy, I was at that point in my career, I was like, I could do three different things at this point in my career. Number one, I could start another company and sprint real hard for 5 years and do another one, um, or I could consult with four or five of them at a time. You can only do so many at one time. Or my favorite one, which is what I chose, was I would really like to help 10,000 first-time CEOs over the next 10 years and to point you in the right direction and to give you the pointers that you specifically need. Too many of the programs that exist now, which are phenomenal, and they should continue doing it. But one of the programs that I find is really important is you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach to entrepreneurs and startups because they're all different. They're all unique. And I love entrepreneurs because I am one. And I have a deep level of empathy for the path that you're beginning and the things that you know and the things that you don't know yet that you're going to learn. Hopefully, you can learn some of those from me and some of my colleagues who are planning on teaching some of our programs. But more importantly, hopefully, you won't have to learn them the hard way, the way that all of us do. So, really, I think those of us that have been around for a while, we have an obligation to really help this next generation of entrepreneurs to have a better success rate than the 20% or whatever it is today in Silicon Valley. I honestly think we can do a lot better. And by passing on that knowledge in a more customized way, is one of the goals that we have. And we're just getting started. The first step that you can take that'll really help is to do that 16 question investor readiness assessment. And then we can talk more about the next steps.
Also, just to kind of quickly add, if obviously, like he mentioned, we're on the grassroots level and we're really starting out. What kind of just ideas that you guys might have for the event as a whole? Obviously, we're doing it through the student interest survey too, but I'm just curious, what do you guys have kind of in mind being in that specific region, like Kentucky, Miami, and then we're at Columbus and people at Wright State. So, what do you guys think should be kind of a focus or be part of the webinar? Like, obviously, we talked about we have maybe the panel discussion, the data that JD is going to talk about in that we kind of presented at the State House. If you guys want to kind of start, like Alex, if you want to start, or Wyatt, if you guys want to start quickly, and then we can move around.
Yeah, I can start. So the students that we have at UK, we have students that have started a business and are
Hmm.
looking for like funding. And then we have students that have never started anything and they just they like the idea of entrepreneurship, but they know like nothing about it. So that
Hmm.
we have like two different sides.
Okay. So that comes under the bucket of people who want to choose entrepreneurship, but they don't know how to start, or those who
Yeah.
already have their startup, but they're looking for that direction and mentorship, basically. That's the mentorship bucket. Would that be correct to
Yeah,
label them
yeah.
as? Okay, gotcha. Is there any other types of audience you've seen, or is it just primarily just that?
That's primarily those two groups.
Okay, gotcha. Wyatt, if you could kind of talk about the people at Miami.
Yes, I mean, we have a few different kinds of people. We do have a student-ran venture club. There are about 20 people. We're all looking to work in venture, so there is that side of it as well. But for our entrepreneurs, we have probably a third of us who actually are starting companies and working on them right now. We're trying to raise money. Another third that think they want to but aren't sure yet. They'd probably be the best ones for internships and get experience early on before they start launching and get some better background. And then the last group would be the people who have no intention of probably starting anything, but they're innovators, and I couldn't see them working in corporate. They'd have to be great helpers for these early stage companies.
Gotcha. So again, it's the same. So people who want to look for mentorship, and then there's people who are looking for internship opportunities and any opportunities that help them kind of get more proficient in this venture capital ecosystem or for their career essentially.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest knowledge gap for us is finding
Hmm.
early experiences at these growth stage companies,
Hmm.
as opposed to like definitely a large knowledge gap in where money's being raised and how to raise money. But
Hmm.
for us specifically, we don't have many people who are ready for that, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Okay. So gotcha. Okay. Ashani, if you wanna talk about it a bit more, at Right State, what's happening?
Sure. I think we're kind of in the same stage as what Alexander has mentioned. There are two types, categories of people. Um, but the larger category that we're facing or I've seen so far over the year is that most of them are very hesitant into getting into anything related to entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
And I just think because they're coming from a very student perspective, right? And they've never done something like this or dived into the topic or been in such environments, perhaps having other students who have established or built something coming in and speaking and doing some workshops or webinars and encouraging and sharing their journey, that would motivate the students in our university and help bridge that confidence gap before
Hmm.
they jump into a space of professional venture capitalists and going in that space of like business owners and things like that, would be, I think, more beneficial and give them that confidence to go into that second stage as a second stage.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, well, again, it's kind of the same bucket of people
Yeah.
that just a more mentorship. Okay. So, as of now, we have three buckets. It's people who want experiences in venture capital, so getting that deal flow, how everything works. We have people who already have startups that want maybe the two ways they have is, well, how do I get funding and mentorship? And then we have people who are just looking for internship opportunities. Olivia, could you talk a bit more about people at OSU? I know obviously we obviously know people at Builders, but if you can kind of give a more diverse perspective on it.
Yeah, I think we're very similar to Wyatt as well, where we have people on the venture side, we have people on the entrepreneurship side, and we're in a unique spot, I think, a little bit because we're trying to go towards the venture more side. And so we want investors as well as people who are running startups. I think a lot of our students being at OSU do want that more secure internship opportunity or to shadow someone to get experience in that field before they jump in and do it themselves is what I've seen from a lot of our students. And so maybe having some more of those opportunities to follow up from networking events with individuals who have things open or have things that need done that they could easily give a student or be like, hey, I'll take you under my wing, building those connections in that sort of way. Um, and then always just opportunities to network more and get out there and get involved in the ecosystem. I think having a good visibility into what's happening across Ohio will be good for OSU students, especially
Mhm.
like being in the center. We don't really have a good view of what's happening all around. We really just know what's happening at OSU. And I think being able to make that visible to all of the separate entities within OSU who deal with that as well, because we have a lot of different areas of expertise that kind of know what's going on in their little bubble, but nothing that's really spread widely across to everybody in OSU that we could then connect with other schools as well in the Midwest.
Okay, so we have four buckets, well, the three like I mentioned before, and then how to network and get in those rooms where the deal flow is actually happening, essentially, is what I can infer from that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, Shani.
I do apologize. I would have to drop out. I have another meeting to attend. But thank
Yeah,
you so much, everyone, for the time. I hope I can get a recording of the meeting. It was great to
yeah.
meet you, JD. Thank you so much for the presentation. I love what you're trying to achieve, and I hope that we can support you as well in the journey.
Thank you, Ashani. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
You
Bye
too.
bye. Wyatt.
I think another key thing to mention is like, I know for us, we're about 2 hours from OSU, probably about 2 hours from Kentucky as well. Finding more ways to like these larger workshops or events in person, just
Mhm.
hosted between the spots or at, in between centers, because we've driven 2 4 hours different networking events, our club. And I think there's
Yeah.
plenty of opportunities that students are willing to do that there could be a lot of value there.
Okay.
Wyatt, I think we saw that with Founders
Split
Fair as
social.
well.
Yeah,
Like
split social.
Absolutely.
if
Yep.
we just have more events that are made publicly known between all the organizations, like even not at a school level, like if we make it student centered, but if we invite people from all across the region to be like, okay, here's the up and comers, this is who you need to be keeping your eyes on, this is the best and brightest of our students, like students would definitely be willing to join. And I don't know, JD, from your perspective, if you think that either investors or people who run these startups would be interested in going as well.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, we should connect up with, we have a new partnership with OSN, Ohio Startup Network. And they have the Hustle Bus where they literally charter buses and transport people from from Cleveland to come down to, the Tech Summit. And, one great place to be in the room, is VC Fest. I think it's in September in Cleveland. They do a really good job of the investor matchmaking. And so that's one thing that we should mention, Shrey, to Shanna
Yeah.
and Sarah as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
Shanna's very open to bringing students along too. So
Yep.
I'm sure we could coordinate a student bus or something from each of the universities or something like that.
Yeah. And she got her nonprofit status, so she can take care of all the logistics on that and maybe get sponsors and that kind of thing. All
yeah.
right.
Another quick
What?
thing.
Yep.
Just a problem that I've seen is that a lot of students will start in the entrepreneurship track at like Miami and try and go that route, but then they see the lack of viability over time and they go into consulting or banking or a safer route. But I think the Ohio Venture Pipeline has a good chance to educate that a little more that there is a larger network in the Midwest as an opportunity for this. So I think that we can open this up to more people and might be a consulting club or a banking club at Miami and other universities.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that sounds great. And then just kind of land the plane here. So after we get the suggestions back and the student surveys and stuff, we'll review that and finalize the program outline. I think one of the things that we want to do is to try to put together a panel and to the point somebody brought up, uh, Savo Knott from Miami is one of our all-stars at Pieces for Developers. And so subject to scheduling, I'd love to get him to be one of our panelists, somebody who's a recent grad. He graduated in the last 5 years, I think. He's done really well, raised a fair amount of money for his software company. So that would be one good one. But when we get everybody's feedback from this meeting and from the survey responses as well, we'll basically nail down the actual program outline for June 25th. And so if we could have everybody go ahead and save the date for the main event on June 25th, that'll be noon Eastern time. And then also we'll have a second host committee meeting 2 weeks from today on June 15th at noon Eastern as well. So we'll be sending that information out. And then Shrey, if you want to talk a little bit about people joining the host committee, what it takes to get the commitment and the onboarding.
Yeah, it's basically the email that I shared with you guys today, the one that was sent in the morning, and then yesterday too. It included the onboarding form. I know obviously Wyatt and Alexander and Olivia have already filled it out, but I just have to get all the other people who are involved with the host committee just get them filled that out because it has all the details to all the Google Drive it has the link to the Google Drive that has all the information that you would kind of need or resources you would need to kind of get the ball rolling. And obviously, if you guys have any questions throughout any of the process on how I can do everything, just you can shoot me a text or just you can email me and I'd be happy to help you guys. Alex and Olivia, if you guys could join the LinkedIn group, that has the link to it is in the um what's it called? The Google Drive doc. I already saw why you joined it, so we're good on that. That basically is kind of way where when we kind of start marketing out for how we're going to kind of get more eyeballs for the event. I think JD has a plan for how he wants to use LinkedIn as a prime resource to market. So it's just a small task of just reposting whatever he's posting on his account and then just driving that awareness and getting more eyeballs so that the more traffic we get, the more we can kind of send them to that registration page and get that registrations up essentially. So yeah, that's pretty much it for yeah, this was really meaningful. Obviously, all the other people who haven't joined will just make sure that they're aware of what we discussed and yeah, if you guys know anyone at your specific clubs, like Alex, if you guys know anyone in venture capital club or someone who might be interested in something like this, I'd be happy to talk to them and get them onboarded too. And if Wyatt, I know I was already talking to Jake, but I don't know if if they're like hesitant or I don't know where they are. But they haven't reached out back either. I've reached out quite a few times. If you can just kind of help them push, if you think this is a good opportunity for them, that'd be great so that we can kind of get more people involved in this. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming and giving us a good feedback and more perspective on how we can make things better from a student perspective for OVP. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Anything else?
I think I'm good on my end.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you joining.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you
was nice meeting
guys.
Thank
you.
you guys. Have a good one.
Take care.